Welcome to the Red Solomon, where we bring you unfiltered, uncensored conversation on a wide range of topics. Typically, these days, it's nothing but politics. I don't know why. This podcast is dedicated on a platform on expressing views, share thoughts, experiences, ideas from a variety of perspectives. Yes, lefties, including about left and right issues. It's not just all right wing propaganda. Join us as we dive into the latest news, pop culture, politics, and so much more. Rants about absurdity of modern life, like almost a 90-year-old president, and life of deeper issues affecting society today, like LGBTQIA, DDBG, and I can't even get it right. But we've got you covered. Sit back, relax, and enjoy this exploration on the Rant Network. David, yes, I mutilated those letters because I just can't get them right ever because they're a tongue twister. But with tongue twisting, you got many Republicans trying to range their tongue a little this way or a little that way and stay out of Donald J. Trump's crosshairs
Mm.
in this political endorsement season. Because
Hmm.
someone that's an enemy of mine needs to be decapitated, ridiculed, ripped apart, and destroyed if you're Donald J. Trump. And it's no different if you're a Democrat looking at any Republican. You got to destroy all of them. But the Democrats, ironically, really want to have Trump going against Biden for more than one reason. They're trying to bet odds. Number one, Republicans need an 8-year candidate, and Democrats want to prevent an 8-year candidate. And they figure if they wager that Republicans get in, Donald J. Trump won't make 8 years no matter what. They'll indict him on something eventually, which is their mantra. But again, how do Republican senators and congressmen go against the leader of the Republican Party? And that, my friends, is the same thing that the Democrats don't want. Is the Republicans want to find a candidate for 8 years, someone that is a conservative, but someone that could live in a world of reality where rules for me are for everyone. Someone that's going to stand above and protect freedom of religion for everyone. And you know what? It seems that the race, even though is expanding with candidates collecting noise, some in defense to water down DeSantis, and others to try and add more pincushions against Donald Trump. And all of this, I believe, is a choreography of a very interesting political ballet. And David, I find it very, very difficult to be on the crosshairs of Donald Trump because he's going to go off of reckless DeSantis, and the other side's going to call him Rockin' DeSantis. And the name calling is yet to begin. David,
Well,
I know,
okay, so
I know.
we went really. I'm glad we had this talk before we went on air. Look, let's take a step back here, folks. Again, as I always like to do. Why are we talking about Trump again and again and again? It's like, yeah, it's indictment season for the Democrats. That's right. They once again over the weekend, a 37-page document came out on federal court indicting former President Trump on lying to the DOJ, on taking classified documents, blah, blah, blah. He's going to court tomorrow in Miami to, you know, we'll see where it goes. And the funny thing in this entire thing is the glee to the left, right? The glee, the absolute glee. Nancy Pelosi is jumping up and down because she said she was going to make sure that he was indicted, he was going to prison. If you remember, that's what Nancy Pelosi wanted for Donald Trump. Um, the notion of guilty till proven innocent is seemingly the way the Democrats want it to be with Donald Trump, as opposed to innocent till proven guilty. This is just seemingly the way the liberal media has done the same thing. MSNBC put on every single talking head they could into one screen and said, we all agree Donald Trump should go to jail. The man hasn't had a day in court on this, but the court of public opinion, or the court of liberal media opinion, means he needs to go to jail. And Stuart, you're right. There's this thought that, are the Democrats doing what they did in a few other elections? Is like creating this false support, this crazed support for Donald Trump, who has more than 50% right now of the support of the voters, call it if you want. And they say, let's put Trump out there so that Biden can win again. Now, there's two parts to this. Number one, I think that at this point, There will be a lot of stress and pressure, if you will, to make sure that Donald Trump does not get the nomination. That doesn't mean he's not going to try to sabotage it in his own way and be run as an independent, as we saw in the 1992 election, uh,
Perot.
with Ross Perot. And I wouldn't put it past Donald, I am selfish Trump. The thing is that it's just the way things have been, like people have reacted. Democrats are saying he's going to jail. Democrats are excited. Liberals are excited. This is a former sitting president, for crying out loud. If imagine, if you will, the right was to say, we want to incarcerate Joe Biden, who, by the way, should be incarcerated himself. He should be investigated. Where's the investigation, by the way, Stuart, on Joe Biden? I don't know. He took classified documents, not as a sitting president, but as a senator, as a vice president, which is a greater crime, but doesn't make a difference because he's a Democrat. And the DOJ has come up with excuses, see Hillary Clinton, as to why we are not going to indict a Democrat. We have a really serious problem here. And the left is reveling in the fact that they can create this chaos. To your point, Stuart, the right, the conservatives, the GOP has a problem. And that is, you can't rally around Donald Trump. But the base, a lot of the base, and they keep calling anybody, there's the base, right? I love that term, the base. It's a vague term. The deplorables that Hillary called them, all these type of individuals who vote for Donald Trump, they're not voting for Donald Trump. They're an angry group. They're an angry group because they don't want the standard politician. They want a rebel rouser. They want someone to shock the system. And that's what they got out of Donald Trump. You're right. The GOP needs a candidate that could stand up to the entire GOP electorate and saying, Donald Trump isn't taking us in the right direction. We need to go this way for the next 8 years. It didn't work in 2022. It didn't work some way, somehow. The GOP blew it, thinking that the voters were just going to all shift. And it didn't happen in the way that they thought that they did. And so now the question is, why not? Now look at the amount of people who are jumping on board. How many former Trump supporters are now running for president? Nikki Haley, Ron DeSantis supported him.
Pence.
Governor Pence, former Governor Chris Christie. And you look at the list of people, even some of the people who used to support Donald Trump, Oklahoma governor, yesterday endorsed Ron DeSantis. He endorsed Donald Trump in 2020. It shows you that the Republicans are shifting, but the voters, Stuart, they need to recognize that right now, despite the fact that this indictment, and shout out to Alan Dershowitz, who basically said that this isn't about applying the law, this is about applying get Trump. And Donald Trump is enjoying this and using this as his mantra. And by the way, Alan Dershowitz is not a Trump fan. Yeah, I'm going to finish.
No, I'm going. I mean, it's a
Yeah,
washing machine. I'm
it's
agreeing
just the
with
whole
you.
thing. If you read his book, Cancel Culture, he hates Donald Trump. But he says the law is the law, and the law isn't being applied fairly here. There's a law for Donald Trump. There's a law for Biden and Clinton. And this special counsel Jack Smith had one job: find a way to get Donald Trump, and Trump made it easy. But this is the system that needs to be fixed, and by putting the Democrats back into power, it won't happen.
But David, the funny thing is how political hacks or pundits run
Hmm.
this. Today I order rum and coke. Tomorrow I order gin and tonic. They're both drinks. What is the big deal if I endorse Donald Trump and I decide to run myself? That isn't saying that I don't believe in Donald Trump. It's just I believe in myself equally as I believe in Donald J. Trump. I believe I want to get this job. I'm younger, smarter, and I don't see that as being anti-Trump. And again, the left like to peel it this way. A political pundit on the right likes to make the fight like that to rile up Donald Trump to go and attack these. Because let's face it, everyone loves when Donald Trump starts picking and hazing on people. You want to know why, David? He sounds like a Democrat. He sounds like The View. The way he immaturely, like everyone on The View, goes after people like Little Miss Hillary, like, Cookin' Hillary, like the name calling that comes from The View, which is a leftist type tactic, which is what Donald Trump does because he's not really a true Republican. he is maybe at best a center, right? He's a centrist more than he is a Republican. It's
No,
just a little bit. No, no, no.
he's a centrist. You're right. It's a centrist about him.
Listen, all kidding aside, my poor cousin Rupert, who he himself is at an older age, who wants to sees himself slowing down a bit and thinks more of his grandchildren. I don't know how in anyone's right mind you can look at Joe Biden and say that's the leader of the free world. I mean, that's the fumbler of the free world. It's frightening. And you know what? Normally, you're right, David. You said in an earlier broadcast that no one wants a smart VP, right? Ergo, Lyndon Johnson. But again, you don't want to have this sort of dynamic of someone smart in the second seat. But now it's going to come back and bite the Democrats because you know what? I think a lot of people are more terrified of the VP becoming president than they are Donald Trump. And I think that's going to be another basket of election people. You have the Hispanic vote, you have the black vote, you got the Jewish vote, you got the Latino vote. Heck, you got the I don't know what I am vote. You got the independent vote. You've got every different basket of votes. But I now say there's a new basket. I don't think Biden's going to make it, and I don't want that second-hand person to become president.
But you know what? I get what you're saying, but the GOP at this point, I mean, listen, we're early. It's still, like if we remember 2016, the big 2016, there were over a dozen candidates, and who was in the lead? Jeb Bush. Where's Jeb Bush today? Exactly. So we can't look at today and say this is it, it's over. What we are concerned about as conservatives is that there is this absolute, bastardization of the facts. There is this proof that, there's going to be
Well, it's not proof. No, David. It is the stupidity of the world population, that which include Americans, Canadians, and anyone that listens to the news, that an indictment is guilt. And
yeah,
unfortunately, and again, an
that's not
indictment is
reality.
not a guilty. Listen,
It's
I
not.
hear Democrats say, "Oh, they charged him." Wonderful. They can charge him 1,000,001 times. Did they
Listen,
convict him?
I'm sorry. That's exactly the point, and that's exactly what is the problem. And I'll tell you, there are Democrats and who are sitting here today and are going, they're not anymore in power, but they're sitting here going, guys, if we start doing this to Donald Trump, that he's guilty and he has to prove himself innocent. To quote you, Stuart, we're no different than Soviet Union. We're no different than a communist country in China and North
Wait a
Korea.
second,
This is
newsflash,
a
David.
day.
Did you just
I
quote
know.
me?
Three
David, wow, my
quotes.
head's gonna explode. Okay,
What I'm saying
listen,
is,
David.
but that is exactly what we are, where we're heading. If you do this, we're in trouble. We're in trouble because who's the next leader who's going to get indicted?
Well, it's not leader. Who's the next person that's going to be targeted? David,
Got it.
you know what I'm doing?
You're
I'm
wrapping
ending the.
this up, right?
You know what, David? It's going to be a long month without me.
Have a great one, my friend. In the meantime, for the final time for a while, wrap it up for everybody. They want to hear
All
your
right.
voice.
That's all for today, guys. Thank you for tuning and listening to the Rant Network. We hope you've enjoyed this conversation, gained some valuable insight, because I always do, because David told me I'm right about something. We appreciate your support and hope you'll join us next time in a more thought-provoking conversation every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, noon Eastern. Check out that new website, catch up on past podcasts, maybe some podcasts that were blocked out to you because of fake news. ICNN. Anyways, in the meantime, don't forget to follow us on social media. Share your thoughts. If you're scared of the media, you can PM us. We won't out you on radio. Hey, how are you, Risa Rowe? How are you, Kenny Hitzig? Oh, just kidding. All right, guys, we're wrapping it up. Say goodbye, David.
Goodbye, David.
Goodbye, everyone. Thank you for joining and listening. Please follow us. Please listen to us.